Hey, it's Andrea, and one of my favorite Vietnamese tofu dishes, it's a classic, it's called Tofu sốt cà chua, and what it is simply like a fresh tomato sauce with deep fried tofu. But I want to make it easier, and I also want to make the tomato flavor like scream, peak season tomato. And typically the tomato is kind of a little watery and more sweet and salty, not as tomatoey as I'd like. But I had this idea the other night and to use cherry tomatoes. So let's see how it came together the first time through in my recipe development process. Here we go. To the stove. Right, this recipe uses pan-fried tofu, not deep-fried tofu like the traditional one does, because it's a little bit easier and healthier, and about once a week I pan-fry 1 or 2 pounds of tofu and leave it in the fridge so that it's ready to make easy, quick dishes like this one. So I am warming the tofu here and refreshing and re-crisping it so that this dish is going to have a kind of crispy quality to the tofu. And then I reheat the pan, and then I throw in a little onion or shallot and some garlic. Stir that around for a little bit until they lose their raw edge. And then I am going to crank up the heat, and I threw in the tomatoes and the chilies here to really kind of activate the chili heat and then kind of get the tomatoes nice and hot and hopefully bursting at some point. And I'm also going to season the tomato with a little bit of salt so that they've got some, savoriness going on top of what's naturally in the tomato itself. And after a while, when the tomato has, kind of bursted, just, like about a third of them, then I am going to pour in a little fish sauce that has a little sugar in there too. If you don't want to use sugar, that's okay. You can keep stirring and stirring. It doesn't take very long before more of the tomatoes cook down, as you see there. And then at that point, I throw in the green onions because you want that kind of pungent finish to this dish as always. And then the tomatoes kind of cook down a little bit, as you can see there. They're kind of collapsing, but not totally collapsing. And at that point, I turn off the heat, and then I put the tofu back in. The tofu's still warm, and I stir that around, and the sauce continued to break down a little bit. And then that's pretty much the dish is done. So the first round tastes pretty good. I then tweaked it with a couple more rounds, and you know what? Tastes pretty good. Check out the final recipe in the newsletter, Pacific sauce. Ooh, delicious.